Natalie, I'm not going to let a second go without saying, let's get this going, lady.
Let's go.
Let's get this going. Natalie, you are the founder of multiple businesses, but you talk about her C-suite, and I just want to start there. Describe her sweet C-suite to us.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. It is such an honor. I am
Oh,
so
the
excited.
honor and privilege is mine.
I so excited. Her C-suite is focused on for it's a professional network and we offer courses and masterminds for women in the second half of their careers, in
Wow.
particular boards and entrepreneurs. So we help women land corporate board roles or start and grow their business. Those two
That's
things.
so that is incredible because maybe it's season of life, or maybe it's just recognizing that at some point we all will need to understand what does that next phase look like for us, right? And we have choices. That's the thing.
We
What
do.
you've designed really underpins choices. So what does that first conversation sound like when a senior leader, woman leader says, I'm ready to pack that portion in and I'm ready to move to my next phase? What does that first conversation sound like?
Ah, such a good question. I always start by listening. I think you are also a wonderful listener. So I just kind of start with where are you today and just kind of pause. And there's a cliff moment that people have when they leave their corporate life. And
Oh,
so we talk about that because I experienced it myself when
mhm,
I left my 29-year career in trade shows.
mhm,
There's a day when you wake up and you're like, I don't have any meetings on my calendar.
mhm.
And it's a weird sensation because you're used to just hustling and going and going and going and nonstop meetings, no bio breaks, no eating. You're just nonstop, right?
Yes.
And for all of us, when we leave that corporate role, there's the cliff, right? You're just like, okay.
And no one talked about the cliff. We
No
heard
one
a lot about
talks.
the glass ceiling.
No
No one
one talks
talked
about
about
that glass cliff where you're like, okay, I'm looking down and I see I see down below me, but it's then there's this moment where, and I talk about this in my recent book where um, I I had a moment where I was seeing the rear view mirror bigger than my windshield
wow.
because you identify, not you personally, but we identify with our career. We
Yes.
identify with our success, which I had tremendous success in my career. And then you make a shift and now you're doing this new thing, totally different for me, totally different. Not at all what I was doing in my career, but then I kind of was like, well, is it really that different? Maybe it's not as different as I think.
Mm,
However, there's that cliff moment and you start thinking, well, is that better than what I'm seeing in front? And the answer is no.
yeah.
It's different.
Wow. Oh.
And so it's up
Natalie,
to
that is actually not trivial, a statement, right? It's not better, it's different.
it's different.
Mm.
It's different. It's up to us to redefine and make that windshield as big as you can possibly imagine. And so it starts with understanding who we are,
Yes.
our values,
And
our,
haven't we changed though? Because here's the thing, who I was,
oh, yeah,
30 years ago, dial
yes,
it back, and who I am now,
yeah,
I guess it just depends on when you jump off of a certain track
right.
and all that's changed around you.
And, the other thing is that you don't have to decide necessarily, I have to leave my corporate role. People are feeling, and this has been going on for, 5
Yes.
years.
I love
I
this.
have to leave. I have to leave. I can't stay. But is it that you can't stay or is that you're just not aligned with where you are right now? But that doesn't mean there's not something else for you. You can stay in corporate, right? You can
Yes.
stay in that world, just different. Find
Yes.
a different role. Or you can pursue boards or have I call it a portfolio career, right? So you
Mhm.
have slices, and how do you want your slices to look?
Wow.
Do you want half of your, 50% of your slice to be doing something that you find fulfilling, doing philanthropy or doing something, or maybe that you want that to be learning and being a curious learner, or gardening. What does that look like for you?
Mm,
Or I need to get another corporate role because that's where I am with my trajectory. That's all good. But you
mm,
have to get it, you have to get in touch with what's important to you
yeah.
and this moment. And okay, how can I make that a limitless, window? And you talked about, um, you know, the door and knowing when the knocking on the door. And I say, doors closed, windows open. It's up to us to fly through. We get those messages all
Yes.
the time,
Yes.
all the time. And we just are like, oh, I'm not listening to that message. I can't because, but no, I can't.
Mhm.
We have to be open to that message. And
Mm.
too often we close it. I'm a very, you know, um, spiritual person. I believe messages come to me. And so if we don't, if we just shut ourselves off, you miss out.
Mm. Well,
Missing
what
out.
what you're saying though, I'll be honest, is so very relevant, not even for just that point in your career when you're deciding kind of, what do I do next? But I would say you're tapping into a level of wisdom that is incredibly important for even the earlier career, mid-career, and early senior leaders in corporate or just in career. I won't just say corporate because it could be anything. Academia, it could be
Right.
arts, it could be anything. But the point is, I think that messaging of thinking about your existence as a professional in a portfolio mindset that really resonates for me these days. Tell me, does that resonate for you in total? Like even if Natalie went all the way back to the beginning, would that be the one bit of wisdom that you'd want to take with you all the way back to the beginning?
It's so interesting. I think we grew up in a certain era where we were told it was linear, and
Yes.
you're staying linear, and maybe I've been on nonprofit boards for a long time. Maybe you'll pursue your passion. I was on a animal rescue for many years. President, founder, co-founder. Um, and so that's kind of your side thing, but then you're still staying the course. Like I'm all in on this,
Mhm.
and it's not linear anymore. And that's that portfolio piece, because now it's like people are doing fractional work, they're doing being on boards, they're doing consulting, they're advising. So we're in an era that wasn't available to us. I
Yeah.
mean, I had the blue princess phone, okay? So then there was, with the cord, and you would like wind it around, like in your closet.
Someone's listening to this
There
saying, "What are they
was
talking about?"
there was a
Google.
thing. There was a thing.
That
Google it.
GPT.
Google princess phone cord closet. I bet there's people talking about it, right? So, I mean, there were no computers when I grew up. So, not until college. So, I think time has changed so much. So, saying portfolio, I still think it might have been in the era, maybe that wasn't possible for me, but maybe mid career it could have been, right? At the when technology was coming in and there were other opportunities, but I was still so driven. I, like you, got my MBA, um, thinking I was going to do it for, I needed to understand corporate world is why I did it. I always worked for privately held companies, and I was like, I need to kind of figure out what are these big companies actually thinking. So that was really my driver for it. But I think, looking now, the world is so different and people are talking about change, constant change. But
Yeah.
there's also a lot of opportunity
Mhm.
for making a pivot, and you can make a pivot a lot.
Yeah,
Before, pivots were kind of looked at as like, you can do one.
that's right.
What's your one pivot?
That's right on. And be able to explain it on your
And
resume.
you got to explain it. You got to
Remember
say,
that?
well, I
Now
made
if
this
now you got
pivot.
to explain why you didn't pivot.
Yes. So her C-suite has gone through quite a few pivots. We started out women VP to C-suite. The idea is we're the result of the women we surround ourselves with. We can make our own seat at the table
Yes.
and our own board of advisors. That was the idea. And now we do, something different because we realized some of those women didn't even want to go to the C suite anymore. They were like, peace
That part,
out.
Natalie. That
Peace out. I'm done.
And but you know what though? Honestly, we got to talk about that because I think there's such agency in that. I think that we tend to be in this system that says, like you said, a linear viewpoint of you do this for this amount of years,
Mhm.
and then you go to this next thing, and then you go to this next thing, right? And I believe that now more than ever, there is a no more to that philosophy, right? And
Mhm.
it's, am I getting what I expect to get from whatever the thing is? And is that leading me to want to do something in another realm or not, right? So I don't know. How have you helped folks that are considering this next phase of their pivot to take all the possibilities and narrow them into maybe what might be their truest interest and desire?
It's interesting. I'm in the midst of doing a course actually, design your next chapter.
Are
So it's
you
perfect
serious?
timing.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I'll just describe to you the five segments because these five segments really do lead you to your career path. So if we think about the pie and how you get to that one point
Mhm.
of pivot where you're going to go, the first is that values piece we talked about earlier of like I really need to understand what's important to me and what words do I like? Some of the women were saying, freedom
Mm,
as one. I That is a non-negotiable, right? Which I love.
I
So
love
finding the words that represent to you the things that you're like, these are the things that are important to me. And then the next is understanding, and you'll appreciate this, your numbers. What
Mm,
is your freedom financial
mm,
number? What is your freedom number?
mhm.
Because it's different for everyone. And
I
it
love that.
and it's good to plan earlier rather than and what was interesting in this course is that I work with women in the second half of their careers. I've been attracting women even before that point
Wow.
because like you said, any point
Mhm.
people are making pivots, they're trying to figure it out. So the third is that piece of like, well, what can I do? What is open to me? What are my options? And the fourth, and this is the mind-blowing thing, is human design.
Wow.
I don't Have you done human design? Have you done
Tell
that?
me about it. Tell us about it.
So you give an expert, a human, and in this case, I'm going to call her out, Michelle Peacock. I love her. I gave her my date, my birth date and time.
Okay.
She takes this number
Yeah.
and creates this plan of your life and who you are. And it is like
Mm,
next level. You're
mm,
like, wait a second, how did you know that I
mm.
do these things? So that is like knowing yourself on a whole like super
Ah,
level. And then you create your plan. So those are the five steps. But human design, if your listeners have never
yeah.
thought of it, look it up. You can
Okay.
check it out at My Vibe. That's Michelle's where you can do it for free. She's got a free assessment, but it is
Excellent.
really next level.
Curious. Yeah.
Next level. I'm
Wow.
telling you, knowing who. So when you get to know yourself personally, it's not like strength finders and no, this is personal. This is not about work. This is, it's
Yeah.
about you as a person and a human.
And your drivers and your
Yeah.
desires and all the things. Wow.
Yeah, that's what that human design. I'm drawing, doing pictures with my hands, but when you see it, you'll understand. It
Yeah.
shows you these like different parts of you that it's mind blowing. So,
Wow. So
mhm,
then someone goes to you and you sit down and you help them to unpack where their passion lies. And I would imagine you also help them to get past that rear view focus and
yeah.
start focusing forward. Are there any physical things that play into this? Because I just tend to think about holistic,
Mhm,
uh, our holistic selves,
mhm.
just. in whatever we endeavor to do. And
Yeah.
so what we're talking about to this point is the mind part, right? But
Yes.
what's actually happening with the body part, with the heart part too?
Well, um, I think there's a combination. I don't get super deep in the mindfulness. I mean, we do talk about it, but it's um it's really about kind of surrounding yourself with the right people to I find as women and me particular, I don't know if I'm unique, but I really find that I love getting insights from other women. We were talking about this. Like we talk and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I love that. Tell me more." And so when you're surrounded by women that are curious learners and interesting and want to help and lift you up, you really can move forward and make that this big view, right? It's when you're by yourself in that cliff moment and you're standing there and you're like, I haven't heard one sound today. If it wasn't for my click, click, click on my typing, like I haven't heard any sound. I didn't get on the phone. I don't have any, I'm not listening to music right now. It's just quiet. That is a little, kind of
Because the
off-putting.
world's going from
The world is
constant
like
to like,
everybody around you's loud,
I
and
hear the birds.
you're in the cone of silence, and you're like, okay, this is kind of interesting. And then you kind of grow to like it. But at first, you're like,
What is this?
what is my calendar? I don't even understand. How do I schedule a meeting? That literally happened to me. And I used to schedule my own meetings, but I don't know why I was having this whole thing. So we all face those things.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
it's
look,
fun with
I
others.
I know that there are some real good nuggets that you have for anyone, any point in career that's thinking about the continuity of their decisions and the opportunity to pivot. What would be the sage advice that you would give to our multi career ladder women as they think about pivots and they engage some of the nuggets that are coming from her C suite?
I think the first thing is don't let fear be the thing that stops you.
That's huge.
One of my favorite quotes from Eleanor Roosevelt is do something that scares you every day. And when we challenge ourselves to step outside of our comfort zone and don't let the no voice, because we all have it. We all have the why you? Why do you think you could start a company? Why do you think people care? Why we can make up 1,000 mean things to ourselves. So don't let that get in the way of being exploring
Mhm.
what you're meant to do and be.
Oof, there you go.
That's my
Wow.
advice.
Look, we're going to talk again.
I hope so. I love it.
We're gonna talk again. You're
Yeah,
stuck with me. I'm
I'm
a
so excited.
subscriber. I'm in it,
Yay.
and you're amazing. And I know that someone, even if it's just one soul, is listening to this, and it's
Mm,
landing exactly where they need. I think what really impresses me coming from 2020 and a lot of the lessons learned, there is an assumption that people are not lonely. There's
mm,
an assumption that people feel that they have access to networks and connections to help them to get through the necessary things that come with pivots, some that they chose and some that they didn't choose. These
mhm,
were all assumptions, right? And what we learned in 2020 coming out of that is that people were lonely. Some people didn't have community and they didn't know where to go. So I'm super excited to amplify her C suite and all the things that you're doing to address and to help elevate us all. And I know that you have some projects that we'll be hearing about soon as well that are going to take our health to a whole new level too. So y'all stay tuned. Natalie, where can they find you? Where can they just follow up and just kind of be right on the precipice of all the things
mm.
that you're doing?
So good. Thank you so much. LinkedIn is my favorite place. I'm on there every day. So LinkedIn and then also hercsuite.com. That would be and it's her C suite. Not I know it's not her suite. I know sometimes think people think that it's her C suite because we make our own C suite. So if you remember it like
Yes.
that, you'll be good.
Right on, sis. We
Thank
make
you.
our own C-suite. And if you didn't hear anything else, if you don't take anything else away, if you embed that in your heart, we make our own C-suite. I think it's going to unlock some truths for many of us. God bless you, lady, and I
Thank
thank
you.
you for your
Thank
time.
you. So good.